Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Production Service Association of Northwest Florida. This is our February 2017 meeting, and we are at the Fort Walton Beach Chamber of Commerce, and not in our usual room. This is the Bow Lakes room. We haven't got kicked out of our larger one. However, we wanted to go ahead and record this anyway because we have a guest speaker today, Dennis Hooten with Quiet Wolf Productions, and his associate, Mary Jo Short. And the camera's on me right now, so I'll show you guys in just a second here. And they're going to tell us a little bit about producing local TV. In this particular case, a cooking show, and also they're getting ready to put another show here on WER3, the short show. So we're going to talk a little bit about what it took for them to go ahead and get how it all got started, some of the behind-the-scenes stories, and also it's more than just shooting. It's actually the logistics of getting the scheduling and also then getting it on air and the cost factor and stuff like that. So let me go ahead and take the wide shot, and let me introduce you guys to Dennis Hooten and Mary Jo. And Dennis, we'll start with you. If you can go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background before we get into the production aspect of it.
Gotcha. So everybody here obviously knows where I've come from and what I've done, but for y'all, I went to film school, University of Tampa. Stayed there for about maybe a year after that, working in the shows and interning at different places. Went to New Orleans, worked in the different shows and movies there. A lot of special effects work. Came back here, started my own production company, did a lot of commercials here and there, then got the idea with a client of mine to do a cooking show, and now that's kind of what I'm going to talk to you about now, and that's kind of stemming off into a work kind of way that I'm heading that I didn't think I was heading into as far as being in the business and kind of that stuff.
I'm going to have you, before we get started why don't you go ahead and introduce Mary Jo to us and let her tell us a little bit about her.
This is Mary Jo Gruber, and she is the awesome host on one of our upcoming shows.
Yeah.
So you want to
okay, well, hi, I'm Mary Jo. I got my start actually in California. I was in Los Angeles for about 3.5 years, and I worked as a red carpet correspondent out there. And then I actually came back to this area, which is where I'm from originally, and went back to school to get my degree in broadcast journalism, which I have now. Yay. And then we've been working on the short show as a YouTube channel for a little over a year. We started last year at Pensacon, was our first kind of big event that we did. And since we were doing it online, it's developed more into the concept of a full-length show, which is what we're working on now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. All right, so how did you end up getting started? And let me go throw a picture up here of this guy.
This guy.
New Orleans desserts, man. Bananas Foster's. Flaming Bananas Foster's, right? Okay, and this dessert has a lot of history to it. Has anybody ever heard of Brennan's in New Orleans? Right, of course. They invented the Bananas Foster as we know it today. In fact, though, I can remember when I was a young kid, my family and my dad would always take us there. They do a wonderful Sunday brunch, and they come around with the cart. And when they pull up with the cart, I knew they were about to get it on, baby. And they had actually rolling cart, but they'd actually roll it right up to your table, inflame the Bananas Foster, and serve it to you right
and
at the table.
I'm going to skip forward so we can see some of the cooking.
Next thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of vanilla, a little pinch of cinnamon. You know, some people do cinnamon. I don't think Brennan's did, but I like a little bit. Then we're going to put the whole piece of banana in here, folks. Like so. You want to be careful. I like to keep the bananas, peel the banana, cut it in half, in right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit like so, a little bit like so.
Let's see if we can
So
skip
that's
to
a
the
big
flaming
part
part.
of it. It goes back into the process of how you cook things. You want to make your sauce, you want to saute it, you want to douse it with the 151, light it on fire, and then let it just brown down, and then you blow it out, and you eat it, baby. Hey, folks at home, don't you go nowhere. We got the big finish, man. We're going to turn the cameras around. In between the commercial break, we might twist Ron Adams on to come up here and serenade the ladies a little bit. I'll see y'all in a minute, baby. Thank y'all for being here. I'll be back in a minute, baby. Come on now.
And you see the dolly move at the end
guys.
there
I'm
as
going to the
well.
back. We're going to do it.
All right, so you could tell that Chef Ernie is a very quiet and reserved gentleman, and kind of an interesting partner to start with. The first question I have after seeing that spot is, did you bring any of that banana Foster's with you?
Pre-production, he tells me what he's making, and I eat it all right there. I watch him make it in the kitchen and see how long it is. And that's kind of what I'll be talking about as far as some of the things that go into it. But I met him through a friend at Northwest Florida. Bob Whitaker introduced me to him. Did a commercial for Ernie for his restaurant, and then that kind of stemmed off into his daughter was doing a Harbor Walk live show. I filmed her. She did a whole singing thing for about an hour. Had about 10 cameras all over the place. Filmed it, and then that stemmed off. Yep. His daughter is amazing. She's 15 years old now, and she's a singer, actor, dancer, and she did the whole live show. It had a bunch of cover songs, and it was pretty cool. But from there, he said, I'm thinking about doing a show, and I've never done a full show by myself before. And so I was on board, ready to figure it out. And then, we just got to it. But I can get into it.
Yeah, I was thinking, let's go take a look at some of the behind the scenes, and you could tell us some stories about that.
Yep.
Let me see if I can pull up that. I guess you're on a.
This is from the commercial. I was just kind of threw this in there to show you one of my systems that I have set up for it.
And what is that?
It's just a T3i DSLR with a monitor attached, and then but nothing crazy. It's got a follow focus that I put on there, but. Now this is the jib. Got this specifically for that look you see in all shows where the camera comes down when you're introduced to the show. Camera moves around side to side. Just a lot easier to do more stuff with than just the tripod.
True.
Yeah, that's Ernie.
That's Ernie.
Okay. So what can you tell us about the some of the challenges of first the production aspect of it, of trying to put it together? How did you kind of start, and did he already have done something like this before that he was able to help guide you? What can you tell us about that?
He has, before this, he did some stuff with Gary Finch for his outdoor channel with WAR. So he has been on TV before. He's got that personality. If you've met him, he's a character. So he has done stuff before. As far as production, starting everything, figuring him out, I know him now, so I know how to talk to him. I know, what he's thinking pretty much. But it was more about me getting what I needed from him into his head, because he didn't really know about the camera setup, the lights. The times we go to commercial break and how long he has to make something. I had to kind of talk him into all that stuff, and now it's pretty solid. I don't really have to tell him much. We got a little method that we use.
So how many shows have you guys shot so far?
Right now we have 6. He was doing a deal with WAR Channel 30 and Channel 3 and FGX Channel 35, and it was a first Saturday of every month would be a new episode. But then also every Sunday of that month, it would be on Channel 35. Oh. And then we'd just do
let's talk a little bit about that as far as who handled getting the air buy. Was that something that Ernie took care of, or is it you took care of it for him?
That's what he took care of. He went ahead and jumped into it, started talking to salespeople at WAR. He already been talking to them about airing his commercials and stuff, and then ask them about the 30-minute spots and what goes into that. So yeah, he did jump into that, and he still kind of handles it all himself. I'm starting to do a lot more of that with our upcoming show. So I'm starting to learn as much as he does about it now.
All right, well, you just mentioned the upcoming show, so that's where you had gotten introduced to the Channel 3 folks through Ernie and him setting up for his show. And then that probably didn't open up the door going, okay, well, now I know what it takes to get on the air.
Exactly.
and what the rates are like. Do you want to talk a little bit about the rates?
Yeah, I brought a. Let me see. I'll get you. There we go. This is what they send you if you're interested in rates and kind of time slots, and if you tell them you want a 30-minute show somewhere. This is currently what is available. That might be different now. They do it they do it quarterly. So if you want a 30-minute spot, they usually say, you know, all right, you're going to get it for 3 months then, and then that's how they sell those off. But I mean, you could see that some of them aren't that bad, but it's a lot of hit and miss as far as what's available. I mean, because you have they're ABC affiliate, so they have all the major shows in those major time slots. You can see, I mean, Sunday 9:30 to 11 is $2,000 spot. The ratings are already there. It's a 4-point rating right there, 2.3. And I think that we, for the cooking show, we are still the 0.1 rating, just like everybody else. I mean, it takes a lot to bump those up. And I think once you bump them up, then, you know, that spot goes up higher and higher, and people start eventually wanting it.
So on this chart, then, where's Ernie's?
Ernie, he is doing, it's not up there because it's taken.
Okay. So these are basically the avails.
These are all available spots.
It's called avails. We're looking for how much, if the time slot is open, you're asking for avails when you're asking the...
When I called to get the rates and everything for her show, that's what they sent. And
okay.
Kind of give you an idea. There may be, when you actually pull the trigger on it, there may be something else available at the time. Those prices might be cheaper. They might be more expensive.
All right. Well, now that you know the cost, you got to figure out how to pay for it.
Yes.
All right. So Ernie, he took care of his own costs, or did he also end up getting some sponsors?
We the same thing. We went sponsors. He got his friends, his business friends, partners. You know, he meets a lot of people at his restaurant. They all come to his restaurant. They eat. So he meets a lot of people that own the businesses out there in Niceville, and he got a few of them together. And I'm pretty sure he has all that taken covered as far as the sponsors.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now, so how are you handling getting the short show?
It's different.
Tell us a little bit about that.
We're getting there. It's one of those things where I don't have the money to do the whole show thing myself, so we need the sponsors, and I'm not going to pull the trigger and sign a paper to pay somebody $20,000 and lock in 3 months of those rates. But we're talking to Harbor Walk. Harbor Walk is sounding interested because we're looking at the July quarter, the third quarter, to air the show. And so that's usually around touristy time. You know, summer's there, everybody's already there. With the sponsors, though, we do the same way with Ernie. We offer airtime, of course, during the show. We also offer the shoot your commercial if you don't have it. So those kind of things factor in when people are like, that's when it starts to make them get more interested. We're looking for people that haven't done the airtime yet, haven't done a commercial on TV, kind of dip their toes in the water and try it out.
And it's tough when you're not on the air right now. It's brand new. It's like that first year, and this is from my experience as well with Tourist TV back in the early 2000s. To get people to, because their question was like, well, who's watching it? When is it going to be aired? How often? Now, those people who have already kind of dwelled into doing commercials on cable or on Channel 3 or something like that already know what the 30-second cost is. And if you can go ahead and beat that price but give them 4 times or 6 times the exposure for that same cost, they'll be open to it. For some of the larger ones, it's interesting you were able to get Harbor Walk because they're like, well, show me the numbers.
I haven't got them yet, but they were. They gave us the full go-ahead to shoot there. They have all the games, and they have a full go-ahead to talk to employees, and so they're going to be on one of the episodes. They're going to be on TV.
Well, let me give you a little pre-warning with a show we did called Destination Soundcheck. It's when Shane Reynolds moved down here from Nashville, and he wanted to continue this thing he called Soundcheck, but he also wanted to add the word Destin in there, so we did Destination Soundcheck. And it was basically a music video review show. So the record labels would send him music videos of alternate rock music, musicians and stuff like that. And we would end up shooting at a venue and saying, "Hey, this would be great. You can just pay us a few $100s, and you'll be able to get a 30-minute show that's we highlight you in there." And the hard part is when you're shooting on location like that was that if you don't shoot another show, but you want to keep that airtime going, those guys are getting their money's worth.
Oh, yeah.
Or if they don't even pay you, then you're kind of stuck, and they're getting all this free advertising. So just a little warning about when you're working on location is to get that cash up front.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All the sponsor money will be up front. It's 3 months included. The thing I like about her show is it's not one location. And that comes up when we're looking for sponsors. Hey, say we wanted to go to the Navarre Zoo, and they want to be a sponsor. That's great. But if we did an episode at the Navarre Zoo, then it'll be a 30-minute episode. But there are sponsors that don't have anything that they want to show. I mean, for one of Ernie's sponsors, VPS was a sponsor. They already had their own commercial. They just wanted the airtime, and they paid for that, and they were fine with that.
I did see the VPS commercial on one of those, so good on you for being able to get that. But that's a great selling point, the fact that if you can do it on a location or venue, you're giving these guys some tremendous value. That's the sell point you need to do, because again, for 30-second spot, and they're going to be paying, depending on what time of day it is, anywhere from $50 to $200 for that 30-second spot to go. And you tell them that you can get them a 30-minute show that's going to be airing at least 8 times, at their location. They've got an opportunity. They've got 30 minutes of people surfing the channels that get stopped on as compared to taking a break from watching their TV show. And that's a great selling point. And one of the things I'll be trying to do also with my studio as well, to try to get people to take advantage of that as well. So you're in some great waters here. It's just the beginning. But then again, the question is TV dying anyway as well? And do we really need 30 minutes long as well? Or is it better off getting a high impact social media video episode and it all comes down to traffic for the most part. So, I mean, are you seeing any sort of traffic on some of your stuff on
Well,
I think through Pensacon is probably where you got most of your traffic from.
Yeah, for sure. With the short show, we started out on YouTube. It was, trying to figure out the show in itself. I mean, the show has progressed into, it's a lot better now. And we have Pensacon coming up, and Pensacon, since we did that, I mean, we squeaked by getting them interested last year, and we broke a couple rules and got some awesome interviews. And then they
broke a couple of rules as far as the celebrities rules and what.
Well, I mean, there was nothing wrong with that. Celebrities,
they're there for people to pay them money to sign their autographs, stuff like that. When you go down the celebrity row,
we were new to the environment, and I had my big camera and stuff, and we had our equipment, and I figured, we'd be able to talk to whoever we wanted to, if they wanted to. If they didn't want to,
if they wanted to.
Yeah, if they didn't want to, then we were like, all right, sorry. But that year, the celebrities were all in this kind of signing room, and they had guards at the door, and not allowed to be in there. We had our press badges but you needed a certain type of badge to interview celebrities, I was like, let's go check it out. I'll bring my camera and we'll see what happens. Sure enough, I walk in there, and one of the agents for Michael Rooker is standing there. I said, hey, I got a show, can we interview Michael Rooker? She said, oh, sure. I ran out there, Mary Jo's sitting there. I'm like, we gotta go. And that was the first interview that year, and she knocked it out of the park. I mean,
I was not expecting that when you came out and said, you're going to go interview Michael Rooker now. Yeah. I was like, shut up, what are you talking about? But it was a good time.
And after we got Michael Rooker, we're like, all right, well, we spent another 3 hours.
We just stayed in the room
talking
and just
to people, walking around. Hey, I got a camera. And we have a decent camera, and she had her microphone, so it looked legit. I was in a uniform and stuff, so we brought our game. But when the Pensacon, they saw our footage from that year, and we went back this year and said, hey, can we do something a little better, maybe get scheduled times, and they were all for it. They're totally with us now, and
Cool. Very cool.
But that was just one of those things with her in the short show, and I think what we were talking about, we stemmed off of YouTube, and then we got into the
All right. Well, with that in mind, and we're going to try to wrap things up here a little bit. We want to make this short attention span theater here. So, give a couple lessons learned, some quick tips for anybody who's interested in one, getting into the biz, making money. And then two, actually producing for TV, or at least local TV specifically for right now. I like
to say local because I haven't done the big stuff yet. I've worked on the big stuff, but my name hasn't been on the big stuff yet. I mean, I've been here off and on for about 11 years. You know, went to high school, Vikings and stuff, and you know, I'd say start working PA. Don't stop. You know, everybody says be a PA. Definitely, I mean, just meeting people on sets and going. I mean, New Orleans is 3 hours away. You can jump on tons of jobs just PAing for a day or two, and you meet everybody out there. Everybody ends up calling you the next day, or, hey, I'm a PAing on this. They need a PA. Can you get here? And then it turns into, next thing you know, your head special effects on a movie just by lying your way through that.
And you got to have the schedule to be flexible enough.
You got to be flexible, of course. I mean, but if it's what you want to do, it's, you know, people are out there 24/7 sleeping in their cars. I slept in my car many weeks over there, just in Trailer Park Central with the movies, those big ones.
So you were saying you were sleeping in your car to do the jobs?
I had a couple of them, yeah. It wasn't bad. I had a sleeping bag, pillow, and pulled the seats back. It wasn't bad. It was hot, but some of the things about local TV that I learned that I think has taught me a lot is the editing portion, the formats that they require. Editing is, you know, hands down. If you do it, you know exactly what I'm talking. You know how to edit. You know what flows. You know audio, and you know how to make it look good. I'm talking about the levels for the audio. This has to be specific. The color of your camera. I shot that first episode, and they almost didn't air it because my blacks were too high. So
I had to deal with the same thing with the golf tournament with Fox Sports last year as well. First time I had to deal with that. And there was a plug-in in Adobe Premiere that actually does broadcast limiter, I think it's called, or something like that. And it'll let you know what's too hot and what's not, and be able to squish the colors down so it's within the vector scope requirements. So that is definitely one of those things. And audio levels was the other one, but that was the hardest one.
And that video is
a bright spot, a glare, but then all of a sudden just kick it out, and it's only up there for a few seconds.
And that video's on YouTube to how to do that too. I mean, I've YouTube nonstop stuff, editing. It's all up there. Times constraints. You got a 30-minute show. It comes out to 28 minutes and 30 seconds is what you hand them. 22 to 24 minutes is the actual show. Everything else is commercials. They ask that you put color tone bars, HD color tone bars up there with a slate and a countdown counter. And then, of course, the worst part I hate is closed captioning. All last season, I got lucky. Usually they charge people for this, they said, but I ended up going outsourcing to a place called rev.com. They send you closed captions for super cheap.
Yeah, $1 a minute.
Yep. I'm so grateful for seeing that because I was already talking to people that were $200 for a whole show. I was killing my budget.
Story about that though, because I did it for the Quiet Courage documentary. I used them as well. Make sure you read over that stuff.
Oh yeah. You definitely check it out because they outsourced that to everybody.
This gentleman was talking about his coach had asked him to get a haircut, and he had a teeny weeny afro. Well, they kind of mistakenly said that he had a teeny weeny a-hole. And I'm so glad I checked that before it aired, because that would have just been cracking people up and it would have been embarrassing.
Especially with Ernie's show, I definitely have to check it, because he throws in those Cajun words but anyway, I get the file back from them. I take the video, I take that file, I give it to WAR. Luckily, they had to go through and put it on there together, just because I wasn't up to date on how to do it. I mean, but it's pretty simple. There's YouTube video out there for that. Adobe, I mean, if that's what you're using, is pretty easy, straightforward to knock out.
Well, let's talk a little bit about, for those folks who don't know about Rev.com. Basically, you just upload a web version of your
the lowest
movie,
quality
your video, your interview. It's great for interviews because when we were doing a documentary with Quiet Courage, I was working with an author. He's used to writing. He's used to things on paper so he can move things around and make it sound good. But when we had video, it's very difficult to do that because you can't really search and find. And so once we were able to do get a transcript from Rev.com and associate it, link it to that video, I could actually word search that video within Adobe Premiere to find that portion in the clip, and then we can start moving. So he would do the authoring all on text, and then we try to go ahead and find the interview segment that he was talking about to match that, and it made a big difference. So for anybody doing documentary work and interviews, highly recommend rev.com, rev.com. Works great, and it's a good source for right now.
So, I mean, if y'all thinking about doing a show, super easy. I mean, the big thing is that those time slots and figuring out your budget, because what they'll do when you talk to them about 30-second or 30-minute show, and you add it up in your head, and all right, $200 an episode, and I want to do a weekly episode, it's 3 months, $2,400. That's kind of what we've been thinking, the same price, but then they start talking to you about promotions, and that's where that money comes in. That's where they say, all right, you need to start 2 weeks ahead of time, and you need so many spots for 30-second promotion of the show. So, I mean, ours...
What kind of fees were you looking at?
I'm looking at about $9,000 just with promotions.
Huh.
Yeah, and that's that'll hit you with, I think, around 700 to 1,000 spots a week during certain prime times news, cast on Channel 3 and 35. And it goes down from there. I mean, the lowest they said they accept is $1,000 per month. After that, it's...
As far as the air by
avail, or as far as 30-second commercial.
Okay.
If you want it, they said $1,000, and they, that might have been what they told me. There might be something else out there. Somebody, but that's what I'm going off of. And every time I call in, they keep saying I need more promotions. So, figure out your market. Figure out if you we're just trying it. We're probably only going to show this.
There's also social media,
yeah,
ads, radio ads, especially if you can hook up with the radio.
Exactly. We're looking to.
I think that could help a lot.
We're going to put this show on Channel 35 for sure. WAR is definitely more expensive, but I mean, you saw the Channel 35 has a lot more better days. We're trying to get a Saturday 7 in the morning, 7:30 kind of kids cartoon time.
Yeah, and these rates will change.
They will change. Mm-hmm. Something to do with Tampa, the Tampa hub. They kept saying that a lot.
Right, and they've taken a lot of the local scheduling and playback away from the local. It's all being done centralized in 1 or 2 or 3 hubs around the country, depending on the region you're at. So they have these regional hubs now. Yes. I mean, at least you're not having to deal with formats of tapes that you have to deal with. Also, having the closed caption encoded on the tapes that you provide.
Oh, yeah.
Believe me, it's a lot cheaper than it used to be.
Yep.
So,
all right. FTP it.
Yeah. I'm so glad for the digital times now. Well, we hope you find this information useful. We'll probably go ahead and shut down the YouTube thing here, but we're going to have our guests in the room here probably ask a few more questions. So if you're local here within Northwest Florida, come every second Wednesday of the month. We have a Production Service Association meeting here in Fort Walton Beach. Go to the Facebook page, which is PSA NWF, Production Service Association. If you put those words anywhere in Facebook, you should be able to find it. And from there, you can just meet all the other production folks and filmmakers and actors in the area. We'll hook you up with your needs. So once again, thank you for being our guest, and we'll just call it a night. Let's point it.